Beep boop. Beep boop, beep boop. I'm gonna do war crime. Hello, gamers. Welcome in, everybody. Good evening. Oh, shit. My tits are in the way. Oh, god damn it. Why does this keep happening to me? Okay, anyway. Hi. Welcome in, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Today, if you might have seen my vague tweets, we are taking a little break from Dark Souls today because Dark Souls made me mentally ill. And as we already know, or what has already been heavily implied, I am already mentally ill, and I don't know if my brain can handle more mental illness. So we're taking a break from Dark Souls today, and we are going to be playing a very niche game from fucking 2009. And I implied that I can make chocolate in this game, and I can potentially violate the Geneva Convention all at the same time. So this is a game I actually grew up with. It's called Chocolatier 3. It's from 2009, and I actually did play this on stream like a year ago, but I remember none of it. Like, I'll be honest, last summer, like summer 2022 was an absolute fucking blur. So I am going to be Willy Wonka today. Which iteration of Willy Wonka I end up being is yet to be seen. I really want to be Johnny Depp Willy Wonka, but I feel like I'm gonna be Gene Wilder Willy Wonka with just the way that I roll. I don't mean to invoke the wrath of God when I create things, but that just tends to happen to me. But let's get rocking and rolling. So this game is also historical fiction. Fun fact. Let me actually, I couldn't make it take up the whole fucking screen. Let me make sure this isn't like too loud, because if it is, I'm gonna be like, oh, we're going. Oh, it's jazzy. You hear that? Wait. It's jazzy. Okay, so basically, this is, let me give you the lore. Okay, let me make sure, yeah, let me turn the sound up. Oh, let's fucking go. Okay, so, okay, now it might be too loud. Let me do this. Yeah, an ambient level. Oh, hell yeah. I need that good ambient. So basically, I'm gonna give you the TLDR of the lore of this game. Because this children's game from 2009 does have lore, okay? So basically, I don't remember if it goes over the lore or not. Let me actually do this real quick to make sure I don't dox myself. Like, can you imagine if I dox myself with, we're not playing Dark Souls today. I don't want to hear about Dark Souls. We're not playing Dark Souls today. Okay, new player. We're gonna make my name eebee 2 because there's actually already an eebee on here. So we're gonna be eebee 2. We're gonna be eebee 2, and that's okay. So, oh wait, I can delete. Okay, here, delete that. Delete that. Okay, new player. We're gonna do eebee, and you know, we'll make this one that one so I don't accidentally delete the wrong one. Okay, here we go. Okay, that one. It's a new save. I'm a new bitch, okay? But you can tell this game's from fucking 2009 because it won't take up the entire screen. I'm gonna see if the game goes through the lore, and if it doesn't, I will give you the lore, okay? Because there's like pages upon pages of lore here, okay? Let's get started. No, okay, it didn't give you the cutscene. Okay, so basically, the lore of the game is you somehow get wrapped up with this like family business empire that makes chocolate. And in the first game, I think it was like pre-World War I. And then like it was like no, I don't fucking know history. It was like, no, it was way before that. It was like 18, it was like turn of the 20th century. You know what I mean? It was like turn of the 20th century, right? And then the second game was like World War I. And now this game takes place after World War II. And I want to emphasize this is a children's game, but the plot of this children's game is this woman's husband, who's part of the chocolate company, has been taken as a prisoner of war. And while she's going off on a journey, on a magical adventure fueled by the power of friendship to find her husband who's trapped in a fucking POW camp, I get to take over the chocolate business. Did all of this this make sense to me when I was 9 playing it for the first time? No, it did not. But now I'm an adult, and it does. But yeah, we'll read. Okay, for most people, World War II is finally over. Not for me. Until my husband Sean is accounted for, the war rages on. I won't mince words, eebee. Baumeister Confections is in shambles, and I simply can't focus on chocolate right now. I need someone else to manage the company. God, this is fucked up. You need to show me you can make chocolates and money. This is so fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry, it gets me every time because I remember, like here's the thing. I feel like if they like made this but specifically for adults, like they just went all out, this would go hard as, like it still goes hard as hell. But I feel like if they just leaned in on it, but like, if they just leaned in on it, it would be so fucking funny. It would be so fun, like it would be so good. Okay, it would go so fucking hard. Okay. Once you've made at least $10,000, I'll make you, oh, no more glasses. Okay, I'll make you CEO candidate and start introducing you to the board of directors. So I gotta make the chocolate and then it's networking time, baby. Okay, so we're gonna go, okay, let's get started. Here's 100 sacks each of sugar and cocoa. Go see Endrit over this. I apologize to any Germans in the chat. Hold on, I don't wanna fuck this up. Hold on.
Zurich.
Zurich, okay. Zurich Chocolate Works to turn these ingredients into chocolate. I can do this. Okay, time to go to chocolate store. Oh, he's looking rough. I feel, oh jeez. Wait, what kind of, I thought he said A, and I thought I was gonna like make him have a Canadian accent, but that's just my fucking name. I feel for what Alex is going through, eebee, but boy, am I excited to get these machines working again. Her husband's been kidnapped. Man, gee darn, oh shucks, it sure is a shame that her husband's been kidnapped, but at least we get to make sweets, yippee! Like, what the fuck? Click make chocolates and make at least 5 cases of basic chocolate bars. Okay, I can do that. All right, are you ready for the mini game? Are you ready for the fucking mini game? Because I don't know if I am. Okay, I have 60 seconds to set our production rate. I have to aim and click to fire the ingredients. I have to make it look like this, and it gets faster as you go. This gave me so much stress as a child. And it gives me so much stress as an adult. So I have to make sure we have a high production rate, because if we don't, we're gonna waste materials. And if we waste materials, that means we're wasting money. And if we're wasting money, the company's gonna go down, and the woman's not gonna be able to find her husband, and then she's gonna be homeless, and everyone's going to die. Do you understand how dire this situation is for this fucking quick time mini game? Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay. Okay. Bam, 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 bam. Oh fuck. Bam, 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 bam. Let's go. Okay, bam, 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 bam. Oh, it's getting faster. Okay, bam. Oh. Okay, bam, 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 bam. Oh. Uh-oh. Wasted ingredient. Use the full tray on the right as your guide. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, fuck it. Oh, I thought it was gonna, like, give me, like, a cue of when to start again, and it just went. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm cooking. I'm cooking. I'm cooking. Oh, fuck. Okay, okay. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, bam, bam. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Okay. I'm not gonna. No. I'm tilted. I'm okay, here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, don't clip that. Okay. There. Oh wait, no, it's still going. Oh, I thought we stopped. I heard a whistle. I thought it stopped. Okay. Oh, it's still going. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Okay. How many did we get? Oh, look at that. Oh, you can't see it. My head's in the way, but we are. Oh, we cook. We cook so fucking hard. Wednesday, you can make it indie/classic games when you don't feel like playing Dark Souls. I'm honestly, like, so what I used to do way back when is I used to do like a vote thing where I would let you guys vote in Discord on what I play. So, I think that, like, I feel like we might go back to that on days I don't want to play Dark Souls. Because I do, like, want to continue Dark Souls, but I'll be honest, it was getting to a point where, like, I usually love streaming, okay? I have met some streamers in my time where they're like, I have to stream, and I'm like, then why the fuck are you streaming? Why? Don't do it if it's not fun. And I, like, have always been the type of person where I love to stream, but with Dark Souls, I was getting to a point where I would be like, I don't want to do this, I want to go home. And I don't want to do that. I feel like I make the best content when I'm having fun and when I'm being silly, you know? So, like, I don't want to, if I'm not going to enjoy it, I don't want to do it. And I want to finish it because it is part of my Warlock Blood Pact, but, like, we're taking a break. But I'm not opposed to that. That could be a fun idea to make it, like, indie, like, games like this theme. Because I love games like this, dude. I really do. Okay. I did my chocolates. We made 54 of them. It was pretty good, you know? So let's see. Yeah, as you travel, you can track how many products we're making in the status window below. Inventory levels for each ingredient we're using are shown with color code bars. Greens mean we got plenty, yellow means we're running low, and red means production will soon be stalled. So right now, we have none. Well, okay, we don't have none, but we're not doing great. Okay, we're not doing great. Welcome in, everybody. Hello. This is my comfort game. WoW gets like that. I tried to play World of Warcraft. I just could not get into it. But my boyfriend used to play a lot of World of Warcraft. Speaking of ingredients, in order to keep making basic chocolate bars, we'll need more sugar and cocoa. You're gonna need some money. Ain't that the fucking truth? Hold on.
Niederdorf.
Niederdorf. I don't know German, I'm sorry. Niederdorf. Okay, Niederdorf chocolates. Okay, I don't want to fuck it up. I'm trying to do Niederdorf. Okay, it's kind of like how it looks. Okay. All right. Hello. English is a Germanic language, so a lot of the pronunciation is similar. Okay, good to know. I don't know a lot of German. I wish, like, I did German a little bit in college, not to, like, actually learn the language. I just had to sing in it for, like, opera and shit. And I retained nothing. Like, literally, they'd be like, you have to do some songs in German. And I'd be like, I don't want to. Can we do Italian instead? Like, Italian I feel pretty good with singing in, but, like, German fucked me up. I got through it, but it was I retained nothing. All right, $85 for one chocolate bar? Okay, well no, it's a case of chocolate bar. It's like a pallet. So like I guess that makes sense, but there is something very inherently funny to me about this random lady paying $85 for one singular Hershey bar. Like that does make me laugh. Okay, sell off. There we go. All right, now I have money. Okay, thanks for stopping by. It's always my pleasure to offer the best prices for quality chocolates. Now go back and speak with Alex. You can find her at the Bahnhof? Did I say that right? The Bahnhof? I think I said Bahnhof. I think I said that right. If I didn't, I'm sure someone in chat will correct me. The main rail station here in Zurich. Okay. All right. Bahnhof. Well done, eebee. You've made some chocolates, and you've made some money. With the factory now operational, I suspect you'll be needing ingredients soon. It's time to restock your inventory of cocoa and sugar. Hell fucking yeah. Let's go. I'm gonna give you $5,000? Oh, fuck yeah. This is like, wait, what's 5,000? This is 1946. What's $5,000 now? I want to know. Okay, $5,000 in 1946. See, this is an educational stream. We're learning things. $5,000 in 1946 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $78,000. Okay, all right, lady. Whatever you say. Go see Verena Zoobriggen here at Main Street Market. Okay. I need, okay, it's all I... Click on the sugar inside. It's all I have these days. Oh, no. Okay, I need at least 200 sacks. Okay. Oh, it's like green. I think that means it's a good price. Oh, wait, no, it's because I haven't priced it yet, so I have no fucking idea what a good price is. All right, we need 200. So that's $1,400. Okay. That's okay, I think. I have no basis on if that's good or not. That could be a steal or we're getting scammed. I have no fucking idea. Okay. Cocoa's only available near the equator. Clip map, travel to... how do I say this? Douala? I'm learning all kinds of... Yeah, I think it's...
Douala.
Yeah, okay, I was right. Cool. Alright. Douala, Cameroon, and see my friend. Isn't the N silent in most African languages? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Chonge Dongo? I honestly am not sure if I'm saying that correctly. She'll be able to fix you up with any cocoa you need. Okay. Alright, let's head over. According to inflation calculator 5,000 in 1946. Oh my god! 84,000! Jesus Christ. Why am I fucking making chocolate? I'm gonna buy a house! Fuck this! Alright. This trip will take 1 week and will cost $38. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, okay. One of my factories is because I ran out of beans. Okay, so since I ran out of beans, it's not making any chocolate because I'm all out of beans. So we have to go get more beans, and then and then we'll be okay. Wait, the world's running out of cocoa? Why? I'm sure there's like a reason. Yeah, like I'm sure it's like global warming or some shit that will make me depressed, but like, aw, that sucks. Damn. That's the thing. Sometimes I read news like that where it's like, yeah, I'll read news about climate change, and I'll be sad, but then it's also like, I don't know, like I feel like guilty about it, but at the end of the day, it's like, what am I gonna do about it? I'm doing my best. Like I'll read like something. It's like I'll read something. And it'll be. And I'm just like pulling something out of my ass, but it'll be like, oh, the ice caps are melting, and I'll be like, I'm sorry. Damn, that's crazy. Like what am I gonna do? I'm just one bitch. I try to have paper straws when I can. Usually, if you're guilty, it means you did something. I didn't melt the ice caps. That was some other guy. Okay. Come to the right place for cocoa, eebee. Buy enough so you got... Okay, 200 sacks is the golden number. Okay, give me that. Bam. All right, now we're back in business. We're back in beans. Travel back to Zurich and see Alex. That poor woman. She truly believes she'll be able to find her husband. You have to admire her spirit, though. When the ice caps melt in this David, we have to take ice to the polar bears. Yeah, like, get me on the next flight over, bro. I'm ready. You melted those ice caps yourself? Yeah, it was me and my little fucking, like, hair dry going like a cartoon villain, okay? The world would also be running out of cocoa if humans were nicer. Yeah. Yeah. She truly believes she'll be able to find her husband. You have to admire her spirit, though. That's so fucked up. Okay. I think that flew over my head as a child. I think I was just like, haha, yeah, but like, I guess her husband, like, well, we don't know if her husband's dead or not. We don't know. I need to buy more. Oh, I didn't buy enough beans. I'm already running out of beans again. Okay, I need to go back and get more beans, but that's okay. We'll live. All right, Alex. Hello, everybody. Welcome in, by the way, if you just came in. Yeah, the cars clipping through each other. Okay. I think you're starting to get the hang of things, eebee, which is good, because I need to leave soon. Next, make your way over to Main Street Market. Verena has a new ingredient you can use to make a new recipe, something that's always good for business. Okay, yeah. Word travels fast. I assume you're here to I need to get my mind down the fucking gutter. I assume you're here to purchase some of my milk, which just arrived. I don't think your milk just arrived. I don't want to judge, but Verona's... I don't think that's the freshest, if you know what I'm saying. We are playing Chocolatier. It is my comfort game from 2009 about a woman who is entrusting me with her chocolate company while she goes and looks for her husband who got captured in World War II. This is a game for children. Her milk is curdled. It's not even curdled. It's like dust. You could like snort it. Okay. Milk, sugar, and cocoa. We can make milk chocolate bars. That's cool. Okay. 200. Oh, shoes! Thank you so much for the sub, Gamer. 18 months. You have 18 PlayStations. Thank you, Gamer. If Eebee's vibes were a chocolate, would I survive eating it? No. No. But thank you for the PlayStations, Gamer. I appreciate it. We'll buy 200 milk. And now... Oh, it's milking time. It's milking time. Okay, change recipe. Milk chocolate bars. See, also, this is all the ones we can make. So we can make caramel, almonds, hazelnuts. I'm actually, fun fact, I am allergic to hazelnuts. So I can't have Nutella. And that, like, fucks a lot of people up for some reason. Whenever I'm like, yeah, I can't have Nutella, they're like, why? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm allergic to hazelnut. And they'll be like, why? I'm like, what do you mean, why? Like, what do you want me to do about that? I'm like, I don't know why I'm allergic to hazelnuts. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, shit, I did spend all my money on old lady milk. I just thought 200 was the magic number, and I just fucking went for it. But yeah, hazelnuts, peanuts, orange, which is, for some reason, snowflakes. I don't know why that is. Lemon. Oh, Boston, thank you so much for the 16 months, Gamer. You have 16 PlayStations. Put peanut butter in the chocolate and give it to the IT student that weighs 115 and allergic to everything. I don't know. I feel like if he ate some of the chocolates that I'm about to make, they would just die. Mint, honey, a special reserve 66% African cocoa, which is like very specific. But for now, it's milking time. But thank you for the 18 months of Gamer. You have 18 PlayStations. I appreciate you. Okay, first one was easy because it was only 2 things I have to match up, but now I have to match up 3 things. So hopefully I won't fuck it up. Let me like deep breath. Oh fuck, I just burped. Okay, I wasn't ready. I'm ready now. Okay, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. Oh, thank you for a posture check. Lord knows I need it. Okay. Okay, we got this. We got this. It's milking time. Okay. All right. Milk. Oh, fuck. I wasted the mommy milkers already. God damn it. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Let's fucking go. Okay, bam. Okay, bam. Oh, don't waste things. Wasting is bad. That's why the fucking polar bears are dying. Oh, shit. Okay. I need to wait. I don't. Okay, fuck it. Okay, we ball. Oh, god damn it. There we go. Okay, milk. Come on. I don't want to waste more shit. Okay, bam. Okay, bam. There we go. Now we're cooking. Okay, now we're cooking. Oh, da. Okay, come on. All right, we need to cook. Jesse, we need to cook. Okay. All right, ready? Oh, no, shit. Okay. There we go. No. Oh, it's moving so slow. No. Jesse, you need the milk. Fuck. Okay. I can't do it. That's the thing. That's what happens. It's like you'll have an ingredient and you'll be like, I don't have anywhere to put it. And this is my counter of how much shit I've wasted. And if I waste too much shit, I'm just done. I'm chopped, okay? So I had to just sit there with the eebee burger. I feel like I'm more of a Jesse Pinkman type, and David's like my Walter White. I actually kind of hate that implication because that implies that, like, I feel like if I'm Jesse Pinkman and David's Walter White, I feel like that implies that, like, I mean, I'm sure there's Yowie out there of Breaking Bad, but, like, I have to make a Google search real quick. Hold on. Oh, there is absolutely Breaking Bad Yowie. Holy shit, that's a lot of Yowie. Oh my god, wait, there's more than I don't know. I thought it would be like a niche thing, but there's like, oh my god, they made Jesse Pinkman into a cat boy. This is incredible. Holy shit. Wait, no. Look. Yo, Mr. White, they turned me into a cat boy. Holy shit. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, so anyway, no more Breaking Bad Yowie. No more Breaking Bad Yowie. Okay. By the way, the drink of tonight, tonight's drinky is cherry Coke Zero, for anyone curious. All right. Take 10 cases of these milk chocolate bars to Donna Gygax, like Gary Gygax, D&D, at St. Peter's here in town. I trust that you will find her quite generous. Okay. Where's St. Peterskirch? Is that how you say that? I mean, it's more fun to say Peter, but like, you know. All right. How delightful! I am going to take 10 cases of your milk chocolate bars and give you $3,000 and 200 sacks of caramel. Fellas, if a lady you don't know offers you 200 sacks of caramel, do you say yes or do you say no? Do you say yes or do you say no? Because I don't, like, stranger danger is a thing, but I don't know what the good course of action there is. I'm not broke anymore. Yippee! I want you to go back and see Endra rest. As long as you have caramel, sugar, and cocoa in stock, you'll be able to make chocolate bars with caramel. And I hear that Endra has a new gizmo at the factory. He's eager to show you. Okay, it's not stranger danger if it's business networking. True. Okay. You know, actually, yeah, it's not stranger danger if it's business networking. If you're what if you're at like a fancy business meeting and you're offered meth? Do you take it to be polite? Cause like, okay, I went to a networking event once, right? And what happened is I was horrified, right? I was absolutely horrified to go to this networking event. I called my dad and I was like, how do you network? And he's like, the fuck do you mean, how do you network? I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, you talk to people. I'm like, how the fuck do I do that? And it ended up working out. Okay, I ended up meeting some cool people that led me to meet some cool people. I think I just memed. I literally, because it was a VTuber networking event. It was at Offkai Expo. So I was like invited to this like party with like these like really fucking cool content creators and people in the VTuber industry. And I'm just sitting there like, but I got to meet some really cool people. So that was cool. And I guess it ended up working out because I did meet some, I think I networked successfully. Okay, we have a recycler now though. So if I don't want to use what's in my gun, I fire the ingredient at the recycler. Okay, so now we don't have to waste anymore. So now it's caramel time. No more Milkies. Milkies are banned, but now we can reduce, reuse, recycle, and now the polar bears don't have to die for my sins anymore. Yippee! Okay, shit. I'm like focusing. I'm in my, oh shit, what? Oh, that one was missing cocoa. Shit, okay, I don't need, there we go. And then, ah! Okay, there we go. Did you know I used to be like, not really good, but I used to play League of Legends like all the time. I don't know why, but this reminds me of like the like little training exercises I do with like my league teams and shit. I don't know why, but like my reaction time is so much worse than it used to be. It used to be like good, but now I'm just like, I mean, I'm also not wearing my glasses. That probably also contributes to it a little bit, but like, I don't know. The first one I was cooking, and now I'm like kind of being a little bit shit. I'm gonna be honest with you, but that's okay. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm like 23 though. I don't want to, for some reason I was about to say I'm 26. I'm not 26. That is a lie. Why would I say that? But like, that's like what popped into my head. Like, oh yeah, say how old you are. Oh yeah, you're 26. What? No, I'm not. That's literally a lie. Do you know Miss Lala? I've seen her on Twitter and TikTok and she looks really cool. I love her model. I love Miss Lala's model. I think she's absolutely precious, but I do not know her. No, but I follow her on Twitter. She seems really, really cool. Cool. I have carameled. Yippee. I'm 35. See, that's the thing, is like, for some people, they're like, oh, okay, you're 23. You're a baby. But then for some people, they're like, you're 23? Get out of here, you old, disgusting, decrepit woman. And I'm like, what is the truth? Like, it feels like a lot of times I'm at a point right now, like, especially if I go to like family events or parties, it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm too old for the kids table, but I'm too young to talk to like the real adults. So I'm just like, where the fuck do I go? I don't know. People that call you old are teenagers. Correct. It is mostly teenagers on TikTok that call me old, but that's okay. Okay, sell all the money. Or no, sell all the chocolate to make the money. Okay, I have to see her now that I have $10,000. I have more than $10,000, so that's cool. All right, where is she? She's somewhere over here. There she is. Okay. You've done it. You have shown your prowess at making chocolates and making money. Yippee. Now I simply must go. Ready or not, the company is in your hands. As I promised, you are now the official CEO candidate of Baumeister Confections. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. I'm a CEO now, baby. I'm a business woman, okay? I made $500,000. I made $500,000 in 35 minutes. Let's fucking go. We are cooking. There are 5 other members of the Baumeister Confections Board of Directors. You are going to need to work with each of them one by one to convince them that you are capable of being our CEO. Some you might find easier to work with than others, but they are all good people. Okay, that's cool. I am off to launch my search for Sean. I'll be in touch as I can, and you should also keep an eye out on your travels for my assistant, Rick LaFontaine. If necessary, the rest of the board and I will be able to get you messages through Rick. Right now, you need to go see my Uncle Felix Baumeister in Cape Town. I think he's the best board member to begin with. Also, I understand that he's been working on some secret projects. They're gonna put meth in the chocolate. That may have significant impact on our business. I know you can do it, eebee. Good luck! Okay, Sean, like, have you been... Sean! I need to change tabs, because I still have the Breaking Bad Yowie up. I need to put that away. I'm sorry, I didn't... Sorry, we gotta put the Breaking Bad Yowie away. I'm sorry. No more Breaking Bad Yowie. No way, they put meth in the chocolate. Wait, they did put meth in the chocolate during World War II? I believe that. They used to put cocaine in Coke. So, like, personally, I think they should put the cocaine back in Coke. I feel like after the past few years everyone's had, like, it would just benefit everybody. You know, put the cocaine back in Coke. Why not? Fuck it. We're already ingesting microplastics anyway. Like, who cares? Fuck it. Okay. Let's see. They put, like, everything in the chocolate to keep soldiers awake. I believe that. That makes sense, but it's also really funny. All right, where's Table Mountain? If you're trying to find Felix, head over to Cape Town Manufacturing. Okay, that makes more sense. Oh, it's the factory. Don't know how I missed that one. Okay. Welcome to South Africa, eebee. I'm hopeful that you will indeed be able to steer a company through these rough modern waters. Very, very, very modern. I mean, I guess, yeah, people, after the war, people were all, like, especially, like, leading into the 50s. That makes sense. The whole UI is very, like, 50s, too. It's kind of cute. While the war was raging, I've been experimenting here with this old chocolate factory. You see, I love chocolate as much as the next guy, but my latest passion is coffee. It's my personal belief that coffee and coffee products represent a new frontier for our company. Was that the secret? Was that the secret? It's just fucking coffee? I thought they were gonna put meth in the chocolate. And you're just telling me we're gonna be making fucking Folgers? I feel baited. That was a bait. Okay. I need a bit more time to iron out the kinks of these coffee machines. You need to keep expanding the repertoire of your chocolate offerings and building up your business. In the meantime, would you do something for me? Grab some peanuts from the market here in Cape Town, make 20 cases of chocolate bars of peanuts, and deliver them to that guy. Okay, I can do that. Alright, sure. I've been given a quest. I need to go... Well, let me sell... How much chocolate do I have right now? I have 30 caramel chocolate bars. How much are they willing to buy my caramel for? 379. I don't know. Wait, I can haggle. Hold up. It's always a pleasure to see you. I am likely to sell to you, but I am hoping you might be able to budget out on your prices. I admit your prices are good, but I feel you could do better. Do you take me for a fool? Your offer is ludicrous. I don't mean to tell you how to run your business, but your prices are not reasonable. What if I get fucked up? And what if I what if I fuck it up? Could you please give me more money, please? That was by like half. We're gonna. Okay. I'm a head out. I'm a head out. Peace out. Oh, actually, let me go here and get more cocoa, more bean. I need more bean. Okay. I got fucked. You know what? Here, we need 500 bean. 500 bean. I think that'll be fine. I deserve that. Can you buy my okay, you know what? This man knows what he's about. He's willing to give me 461 doubloons for my chocolate caramel bars. That kiddo could only give me 370. Thank you, sir. Take all of it. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, now we're cooking. All right, back to Zurich. This is gonna be fine. This is gonna be fine. I'm so good at business. You guys don't understand. They need to put my ass on Shark Tank. Okay? I mean, I do own a business in real life, but the stakes are not nearly as high. Okay, take that. Now we gotta make the nut. All right, we had milking time. Now it's nutting time, baby. Let's go. All right. It's time to nut. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Last time was a disaster. Hopefully this time will not be that. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, shit. Okay. Oh, fuck. There we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted the big one. The big one. You know what I'm talking about? The big one. Okay. Shit. Okay, fair. Okay. Okay. Fuck, no. Peanut, nut. Okay, there we go. Okay. Nut. Okay. 31! I don't know if that's good or not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no fucking idea. Well, I needed 20, so I guess it worked out. Give me $5 million for 1% of my company. Yeah, I could do that. I have the Riz. Well, actually, no, the fuck I don't. Evie's real life business and supports her light work. The reaction chocolate game from 2009 is hard work. It is! Okay, listen. The hardest part about running a business, a small business, in my humble onion, as a small business owner, is, doing your own taxes sucks. Like, biggest advice I have for anyone that, like, genuinely wants to start a small business, if you want to do your taxes yourself, sure. Just, I know you might hate it. I promise you will thank me later. Set aside some money each month. Get a fucking accountant. I swear it's worth it. And start running payroll for yourself so you get, like, they take out taxes periodically. Like, do it through fucking QuickBooks or something so you don't get hit with, like, a $5,000 tax. Oh, shit. You will shit your pants. Just trust me. Get fucking QuickBooks. Get an accountant. That is my number one piece of advice for people that want to start their own business. I know I'm stupid most of the time, but I'm really smart at, like, 5 things. Can I shit my pants anyway? I mean, who am I to stop you? We're all about pants shitting here at eebee Games. I have IBS as part of my brand. Alright, go on to university. Hey, bro. Why is he so, like... He looks so happy. Why are you happy? I mean, I shouldn't say that, but, like, why? Like, everyone else is kind of like, and he's just like, yippee! You know? So, like, I don't know. I feel like he's too happy. People are dying, Florian. You made my day. Do you know how hard it was to get a hold of peanuts during the war? These chocolates are simply delightful. Well, that's because I made them with my bare, sweaty palms. They got extra salt in them. Is it safe to join today? Yet to be seen. I mean, we were talking about meth and Breaking Bad yaoi earlier, so, you know, it's... you know. Okay. Take another 30 cases of these delightful chocolate bars with peanuts to in Cake Town. I almost said Cake Town. I only screamed nut for like 2 minutes, okay? Don't make it sound that bad. I know she'll love the chocolates, and she's usually up on the latest news. Okay, 30 cases of peanut. How much peanut do I have? How much peanut? I have 11 peanut. I have not. Oh, I don't have enough not. Okay. I need to go back and, getting freaky as usual. I had someone ask me, they're like, so are you like a lewd tuber? And like, I don't think I am, because like I always interpret it as lewd tubers are people that like they do like sexual stuff purposely in their content. Whereas all the sex I do is like on accident. Like I don't mean that, like I'm not trying to be sexy. In fact, I feel like I'm like the opposite of sexy as a VTuber. Suck these nuts fast. Thank you for the follow. You know, I guess I can keep girl boss. Why does it's okay. Why does the Norway Navy have barcodes on the side of their ships? So when they come back to ports, they can scan. That was good. That was good. Welcome to the stream. What a fucking entrance. But that's the thing, is I don't mean, like, I feel like I'm, like, very unappealing. Like, that sounds bad. Like, I feel like it's, like, there are some VTubers where, like, I've talked about this before. There are some VTubers where, like, people jack off to their streams. And, like, not to be a weirdo. Like, it's one of those things, like, I would never personally jack off to a VTuber stream. But it's one of those things where I'm, like, it's weird, but, like, I get it. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, I feel like if you jack off to my stream or you find me sexy, you're a psychopath. You know what I mean? Is that implying that Dave is a psychopath? Yes. Yes, it is. But, like, I'm just, like, I don't know. I'm just out here, okay? I'm not cute. I'm not sexy. I'm just a blunder to society. Okay, I need more nut. I have 9 nuts. Jesus Christ. I have 9 sacks of nut. Yep, I deserve that. Could I please have 100 nuts? Oh, maybe 50 nut sacks, sir, but I have 70 of your finest nut sack. Thank you for the hydrate. All right. It's nutting time. Oh, wait, he's not ready yet. Okay, okay. Let's go back to here, because we got to configure the factory. We can't manually change our factories yet, so we have to fly all the way back to Germany to tell them it's nutting time. All right, I need the entire country of Germany to nut. Hi, Buds! I vividly remember you playing this game a bunch like a year or 2 ago. I did! This is my comfort game, and Dark Souls made me upset, so this is what we're doing now. And I just bought 70 nut sacks. Okay. I need more sugar, actually, like, unironically. I need a lot more sugar. It's one of the 2 games in my head I associate with you, that and Skyrim. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. Okay. $500 worth of sugar. Sell all of this. Sell, how much do I need? Okay, yeah. By the time I get to Cape Town, I should have it. Yeah, okay. So let's go to Cape Town, go to the mountain, and then delicious. Okay, perfect. EB core game. True, true. I understand that Verana's brigand has been stocking all kinds of new ingredients. I imagine you may just find some new useful things on your next visit. Oh, okay. Where is she? Oh, I think it's here. Wait, is it here? Hold on. Who's Veronica? That's not Veronica. That is not Veronica. Hi, Jam, welcome. Who's this person? Well, I'm eebee. This is, Gavin, apparently. How big is this company as she gave it to you? I mean, I don't know. But she said, like, it seems like a pretty big company because she was able to just give me, like, $5,000 fucking dollars. And is like, okay, take care of my company. I'm gonna go look for my husband who was gone in the war. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know why they entrusted me with what is the 2023 equivalent of $80,000, but I'm not gonna turn down $80,000, you know. You're just the type of person I've been looking for. I happen to have a glute. What the fuck is a glut? Of sugar I'm trying to offload. I'm willing to exchange 1,000 checks of sugar for American 18 cases of chocolate bars with mint. I don't know. We don't have mint, but I can find it. You're actually a different streamer than the one I thought you were. I mean, if you followed me like in 2021, I rebranded like 3 fucking times. So that could be it. I've finally stuck with this model and aesthetic for like 2 years, a year and a half now. I don't fucking know. So like we're done rebranding. But that might be why. Bye, May. Thanks for hanging out, gamer. Your Skyrim streams about, yeah, okay, that might be why then. That might be why then is when I rebranded. Okay. That could be. Follow them forgot. Fair enough. But yeah, I don't have any mint, but we're gonna find mint, because I want, oh yeah, I don't have my wizard hat on, but here it is. Just for you, I'll put it back on real quick, and then we'll take it off, because it's kind of large and in the way, but I also did recolor my model, because I don't care who the fuck, I don't care what anyone says, it's Halloween. It's Halloween. If Walmart says it's Halloween now, okay? The hat stays on during sex. It's true. Listen, I've gotten hentai commissioned of myself one time. And did my wizard hat stay on? Yes, it did. And would I do it again? Absolutely. Anyway, yes. Oh, wait, he's giving us the mint. We can make it too. So, okay, he only needs 18. Yeah, give me 20 mint sacks, 30 mint sacks. There we go. And then I need more. Yeah, I deserve that. Do I want more? Well, no, because I'm going to run out of nut. But by the time I get to Germany, I think I'll be out of nut anyway. And then I need to make the mint, so... Am I... Oh, I got a trophy! Okay, presented to a budding chocolatier who's arrived with a big splash on the chocolate-making scene. Fuck yeah, I did. Okay, there we go. Alright, we're low on nut. The reserves are all used up. So we're going to switch that. And that way, we're gonna do mint. No more nut. No nutting allowed. I think I do have my glasses as a toggle. I think it's this button? Yeah. So that way, it should be okay. But I kind of, I don't know. I might make it as 2 separate redeem. I might make it 1 redeem by itself, but I also know people like to fuck with me. So I keep it separate. Okay. 60 seconds. We did good on the last one. We just gotta keep up the Osu level reaction time, okay? I don't have my DPI configured for my mouse, but I'm sure we'll get through it. I'm sure it'll be okay. All right, let's go. Okay, all right. Bam, 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 bam. What? I accidentally clicked out of the game. Oh fuck. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. Bam. Yes. Okay. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ah, shit. I fucked up. Fuck. Yes. Okay. There we go. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, fuck. Wait, what? Oh, I'm out of fucking sugar. Okay. Yippee! Okay, there we go. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 I'm using my brain! I'm using my fucking brain! Okay, Okay. It's very intense. I'm a cracks knuckles. I'm somewhat of a gamer myself. I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of stressful, okay? But I did have some demons I needed to get out. But hey, I got my mint, and then I ran out of mint immediately. Great. Do I have any more? I mean, I think I have caramel. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, let's go back to Africa. And then we should be good. Okay, this person? Who's Gavin? Where the fuck's Gavin? I need to go to Gavin. You're not Gavin. Where the fuck's Gavin? You're also not Gavin. Gavin? Gavin, these nuts in your mouth. Terrific. These chocolate bars have been are perfect. Here's 1,000 sacks of sugar. Fuck yeah. I will never run out of sugar ever again. Okay. Give me... I think we can go without caramel. Don't hurt anything. Listen. I was saying this before. I'll say it again. I cannot be held legally responsible if you watch my streams with no headphones on. Also, thank you for the posture. Let me grab my chair pillow, like, went away for some fucking reason. I need my lumbar support or I'm going to shit my pants. Okay. Let's try that again. Is that a hazelnut? It's it's like meant to be a sack of hazelnuts, but there is something very funny about the idea of like a singular hazelnut for $200. It is the hazelnut, the hazelest of nuts, the nuts of all hazels. What? Okay, I need to find a quest. Felix, are you done coffeeing? Oh, okay. New quest. I've spoken with some of the other members of the board. We are impressed with how you have managed things so far. However, before we will be able to completely put our trust in you, we're going to just need to see some evidence of your creative abilities as well. We have been building a secret test kitchen in Iceland, far away from the watchful eyes of our competitors. This is where you'll have a chance to invent your own recipes to bring to market. Okay, go to Iceland now. My nephew Teddy will welcome you. Grab one sack of whatever ingredients you're carrying and explain more. Okay. I think I have all these ingredients. All right. It's time to go to fucking Iceland, baby. It's war crime time. All right, I'm ready to put meth in the chocolate. This is a groundbreaking idea. Uncle Felix speaks quite highly of you, Eve. We have a sophisticated operation here where you are able to create your own recipes. We offer feedback and on the marketability of your inventions, and you can name and design your products. Perfect. Okay. Once your recipes are entered into the corporate recipe book, you will be free to manufacture and, of course, sell your own creations. With success, you'll be able to be given the chance to create more recipes and stay on track to earn the board's endorsement as CEO. Okay, so the stakes are high. I have to make something that my investors and my board likes. I have to appease my stakeholders. So we gotta dream big, okay? We gotta think outside the box, okay? Because chocolate is just basic. We've overdone that so many times. So let's do, okay, here's what I'm gonna propose, right? We gotta be outside the box, right? So what if we made chocolate? Hear me out. Are you following me? Are you following? What if we made chocolate with no chocolate in it? Groundbreaking. Incredible, right? We'll call it white chocolate. Okay. What about... I think this is literally just the rest... God damn it. God damn it. Okay, okay, so we need to have the bean. Okay, we can't go without any bean. I'm kind of limited on what I can do. What if we did... Why can I only have 3? Can I just... What if I just give you a handful of nuts? Damn it. What if we... Okay, you know what? Actually, Rainbow's got a good idea. We need the kids to brush their teeth, right? How are we gonna get the kids to have that good... Ah, Dark Sippin! I bet he looks nuts. Thank you for the 10 months. You now have 10 PlayStations. Welcome to the stream, gamer. Yeah. Thank you for your support, though, gamer. I appreciate it. Hi, Santos. Welcome. Where are my chocolate fire ants? I haven't found the fire ants yet. But I promise we will get there. I know that for a fact that I can get fire ants in this game. I just haven't, I haven't investigated them yet. But thank you for the follow. You're not guessing, gatekeep girl boss. But okay, here's my groundbreaking idea. The investors are you all are gonna be my investors, my stakeholders, okay? And I'm Todd Howard, baby. Okay, so the kids gotta brush their teeth, but the kids don't want to brush their teeth. So how do we make the kids brush their teeth? With chocolate. Well, huh? Try some sweetener. There's 2 mints in it. The fuck do you mean it needs to be more sweet? Why are you a hater? Can I do it anyway? Good. Okay. We're gonna call that shit Sensodyne. Yeah. Okay. Sensodyne. Describe your creation. Brush your fucking teeth. You will get gingivitis. There we go. Mint isn't sweet. Just makes your mouth feel cold. Well, this is gonna get the kids to brush their fucking teeth. Okay? Because the Lord knows they need it. What color? Sensodyne's like white, isn't it? Yeah. Get that shit. I need it to be like... I feel like that's like gray to me. I need it to be like whiter. See, it's not good enough. I need it to, I want it to look stupid. What do we, no, we're not putting chunks in it. That's a nut. I mean, snowflakes I feel like are a good idea. Snowflakes could work. Let's do like green snowflake. Is the gun still on the table? Yes. The gun's always on the table. White with turquoise on. Ooh, that's good. It won't let me do like a pure white. I mean, I guess that works. That looks gray to me. That's gray to me personally. Okay, but let's do, I like the idea of like a turquoise line. I like that. Get that crest. Y'all remember, do you guys remember the crest? Like the kids' crest that was like blue and had sparkles in it? Do you guys remember that? I used to eat that for fun. I don't know why, but I thought it tasted good. And me and David were in Giant the other day, and I told him that like a year ago, that I used to eat toothpaste. And we were at the fucking Giant, and he was like, oh, we need some toothpaste. And I was like, can we get the kids' crest? And he looks at me, like so dead ass. He looks at me and goes, no. Why not? Let me feast, please. Okay, I think this is good though. I don't know if I wanna, yeah, sure. Put more like drizzle on it. There we go. Fantastic. We have my new hit chocolate bar, Sensodyne. David is so mean to me. Why won't he do it? We might call him over later, just for fun. All right, add recipe. Yes. We're off to a great start. Does it sound like David needs to keep poison control and speed? I don't think he has it on speed dial, but I think he has it saved in his contacts. I think he does, actually. This is gonna sell like hotcakes, so I'm telling you, this is gonna sell so fucking good. Oh my god, they're not ready. All right, let's go back, because I don't think we have any mint in our inventory. Let's go back to Cape Town, buy some fucking mint. Oh, Rick! Oh, this is Rick. This is Rick. This is the guy that they told me to watch out for. Hello, Evie. I'm Rick, Alex's assistant. I'll keep you posted from time to time with messages from Alex and the other board members. Alex is doing okay. She hasn't learned much about Sean, but that woman will just not give up. Welcome in, everybody. Hi, Skittles. So, for those who just came in, the plot of this game for children, by the way, is that this woman was part of a chocolate company, but her husband was kidnapped as a prisoner of war, and World War II has just ended. And while she's looking for her husband, we are managing her chocolate company. So that's happening, and I just made Sensodyne. And we're about to sell the Sensodyne. They're gonna fucking love it. They're gonna love it. In any event, congratulations on the invention of your face recipe. Make sure that you see Annalise, I don't know who the fuck that is, and Zurich as you've been able to manufacture some of those Sensodyne. She's been known to pay top dollar to be the first to offer a new recipe at her shop. Okay. She wants the Sensodyne. I'm gonna give her the Sensodick. Alright, let's go. Give me... You are so mean to me. Actually, I'm gonna sell my chocolates to the person over here. Because that person was mean to me because I threatened them. But, like, they need to get over it. Give me 100 mint. Yeah, okay. Do I have enough money to go home? Okay, an ad break's running. I'm gonna go get... actually, no, I'm good. Well, we're good. I thought I was gonna go get water, but we'll live. We'll live. Okay. All right. My factory is stalled, but that's okay. All right. I'm gonna buy, or no, I'm gonna sell my chocolates here. Yeah. See, what's your name? Henry. Henry's a homie. Okay, because he pays top dollar for my chocolates. Okay, that child in South Africa can eat my dick. Wait, no. That he can not buy my wares, okay? But Henry can get it, okay? He's a homie, okay? Thank you, Henry. God damn it. Okay, I really need to start thinking before I speak. I gotta get in that habit. Okay, Zurich, let's make some fucking Sensodyne. All right, it's time. It's so time. It's so time. Oh my god, look at it. It's so beautiful. She's so gorgeous. Oh, she's so pretty. Okay, all right. Sensodyne, the sense of this dick. All right, here we go. Henry is one of the boys, honestly. Okay, this one should be easy peasy, okay? Because it's just like I'm being a gamer, excuse me. Please excuse me while I am gaming. Fuck! Oh, I fucking missed. I fucking missed. Okay, oh shit, okay. There we go. Okay, we're gonna make so much Sensodyne. This one's so easy though. Like, unironically, I was actually such a gamer for making this because this is so easy. How much do you think we're gonna get? Here, I need to, okay, less talking, more gaming. More gaming, okay. Oh, okay, okay. Perfect. So fucking dramatic. Okay. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Okay. Fuck. Fuck. No! No! Wait, I fucked up. I fucked up because I fucking I wasted too much. Try again. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that. Okay. I wasted too many ingredients and they cucked me, okay? I will not be cucked in my own goddamn factory. Not again. Not a fucking again. Okay. It's like what happened in the first war. I'm making up lore for my like CEO's like Sona. Maybe she was like, I like to think that she was like, I just want to start, like, whenever anything bad happens to me in this game, I'm just gonna say, this is just like the war. And no one's, like, people are gonna assume it's like World War II. No one's gonna know, like, what war I'm actually referring to. It's gonna be a mystery. You know what I mean? Okay, hold up. Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Okay, come on. I'm focusing so fucking hard right now, bro. Okay, come on, come on, come on! Okay, okay. So much just fucking mint. Okay, there we go. Jesus Christ. 39! Okay, that's not that much better, but it worked. Welcome to the stream. I will tell you what is happening, okay? A woman... Every time I explain the plot of this game, I feel like people think I'm insane. I'm not insane. This is literally the plot. A woman came to us who owns a chocolate company, and her husband was kidnapped as a prisoner of war in World War II, and it's 1946, and she's trying to find her husband, and I'm in charge of the chocolate company, and I just made Sensodyne. Okay. I need to go see this person. Would you like my Sensodyne? What if you try to make chocolate flavors based off of card model? Yes, milady, this is my hot new flavor. Ford F-150. I think we could do it. I think we do it. Put that on takeout. Stop. Oh my god. 3 chocolate in the bar so you can just shoot the same. I think I can actually. We'll see. Because what I noticed is he advised against it. But it let me do it. Sometimes it won't let you, but he let me make Sensodyne. So, like, the sky's the limit, baby. Like, okay. You see this shit? You have created your own product. Sensodyne. Absolutely. Sensodyne. Absolutely delicious. I sure hope that they appreciate you at that company of yours. Yeah, they fucking better. They fucking better, Annalise. I'm going to give you $10,000 for the first 10 cases. Step inside and I'll figure out my offer for the rest of your wares. Let's fucking go. $165 for... This is awful. I thought... Did you... The other chocolates were like $400. Why don't they want to pay for Sensodyne? Do you bitches have no good taste? Oh, lemon. Ooh. By the way, a kid at school today called me out for having ADHD. I was literally in the middle of teaching, and this kid, like, I don't remember what I was doing, but this kid stopped me dead ass and was like, do you have ADHD? And I didn't know how to respond, so I just went, yep, and kept going. Like, I didn't know, like, what do I, like, I can't believe a child clocked me. I was just like... Damn, that's crazy. We could make citrus Sensodyne. We could. Let's just grab like 2 of each right now, because we'll need them. We'll need them later. Yeah, he really just like clocked me. I was like, damn. Okay. We need more mint. We're gonna run out. We're gonna stall, but that's okay. Let's go back to Africa. And we'll buy more mint. Will you pay for my Sensodyne? What do you want? Oh wait, now they're paying. No. The price went up. In Germany it was like 100 something. Now it's 200 something. Okay. They love the Sensodyne. What did I tell you? It's a national hit sensation. Eat toothpaste. Yeah, you can have it. That's fine. Give me more of this, and then we need to go to the other place in Africa to get more nut. Oh no, this is bean. Okay, we have like 2 ingredients, nut and bean. Okay. All right. We're good. We're good. All right. I need 2,000 bean. Oh wait, I can't. I don't have 2,000 bean money. God damn it. I could have had nut chocolate. I'm sure we will make nut. Don't worry. Like I would be genuinely perplexed if we didn't make any chocolate based off of nut. My production is just so high. My mint supply cannot keep up. Okay. All right. What do you guys think about Sensodyne? Did you see that? This is a scam. Henry! They paid me $200 for Sensodyne in Cape Town! What are you playing at? I truly expected to hear better prices from you, my friend. Thank you, Henry. Thank you. It's still not great. It's still not great. But I'll take it. I'll take it because you've been a homie to me in the past. You've been one of the boys. I'm still not happy with it, but I'll let it slide this time, Henry. I'll let it slide this time. Okay? You can have some Sensodyne. Sensodyne for you. Sensodyne for everybody. What's going on over here? My first crop to be ready in December. Okay, we have to come back here in December for the fancy cocoa. Anyone else got any lore? How is Alex faring? Probably not good, gonna be honest. Okay, do I have a quest right now? I do not have a quest. Can we go back to Cape Town? Actually, I need to talk to Felix, because coffee might be right. It might be coffee time. Is it coffee time? No, it's not coffee time yet. God damn it. Okay, Alex is farting. I mean, who knows, you know? Oh, I just knocked over my fucking trash can. I had to move my trash can under my desk, because my cat kept digging in the garbage. He just like me, for real, for real. Why does the price of Sensodyne keep dropping? Do the people not like Sensodyne? That's so fucked up. Wait. This is a scam. I'm getting scammed. This is awful. Okay. Let's go back to Germany. I feel like they'll have something for me to do in Germany. So that's like our home base right now. We need citrus Sensodyne. You're right. Oh, wait. Okay, we have a quest. We have recently expanded our observations and are going to be celebrating our success soon. I'm looking for something sweet to serve during the event. Would you accept an order from me? If you bring 20 cases of chocolate bar with lemon, I will pay you $1,500, $750 per case. Fuck yeah, I will. Sure. Okay, I need lemon. Sensodyne. Okay, yeah, the price is... I feel like Sensodyne's like a regional thing. Because in some places the price is going up, and in some places it's going down. So, like... Maybe it's a regional thing. Maybe some people love Sensodyne, some people hate it, you know, and that's just, we're gonna have to deal with it, you know. We'll adapt to our market. Give me 100 lemon. Okay. All right. It's lemon time. Lemon time. Okay. All right. I need to like take a breather before this. Okay. What do you think about Ryan literally being Cosmic song about Ken? It's kind of a banger. I'm gonna be honest. So I teach VTubers how to sing for a living, which is always a fun job title to explain to people. And whenever there's a trend in like the VTuber music community or even just music in general, I feel like I'm the first one to know about it. Because the thing with teaching VTubers how to sing, and the reason I love my job, is I don't have to just teach classical music. I literally get to teach all kinds of weird shit. Not even just J-pop, okay? I had 5 different people bring in I'm Just Ken to their fucking voice lessons. And every time I taught it, it was a goddamn delight. It's a fun song. It's actually kind of, there's like a shit ton of key changes in it for like no damn reason. Like, and the key changes happen at awkward times. So it's like, it's not as easy of a song. I feel like when we think of meme songs, we think of them as easy to sing, but it's not as easy to sing as you think it would be. It's got some weird shit going on. But I do like the song. It's very fun. It's very fun. All right, lemon time. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. All right. It took like 2 seconds for me to fuck that up. Great. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. We still got the clear, the big boy clear, so that's gotta count for something. Okay, oh shit. I wish I could go to Chili's. I know that totally came out of nowhere, but I'm thinking about Chili's, and I wanted you guys to know. Just, their honey crispers are so good, and like, I don't know why I'm thinking about Chili's, but I'm thinking about Chili's. Fuck! Okay, okay, no more waste, no more waste. I'm a good noodle, I'm a good noodle. I'm not gonna kill the polar bears. Okay, I'm a good noodle, I'm a good noodle, I'm a good noodle, I'm a good noodle. Oh no, oh no. Fuck, dying. Okay, I have the black plague. Okay, stop having the plague. Stop having the plague. No more plague. Oh, fuck, okay. Okay, we're back. Okay. K-pop band made a song called Anti-Fragile. The term was coined by a Lebanese guy who worked in investment. Jesus. It all comes full circle. Chili's has gotten expensive recently. They have a thing now where like you can get like crispers and fries and mac and cheese for like 15 bucks, which isn't bad. But it's only 3 chicken tenders, so I don't know. But like I don't eat a whole lot nowadays. I'm on these like I'm on this new medication that like suppresses my appetite a lot, and I've lost like a good amount of weight on it already, which makes me happy because I'm gonna be skinny. But like it's weird because I would order the same amount of food I used to order, and now I have leftovers all the time, which isn't a bad thing. Like I'm saving money, low key, but like I'll be like, oh yeah, that's plenty of food, and then people will be like, no the fuck it's not, and I'm like, oh, okay. Has anyone ever been asked to be taught the Big Chungus theme song? No, but I have taught Suckaban Bass Piss twice actually, which is fun. That was a fun one to teach. Okay, back to the bank. Fuck yeah, 15 doubloons. Okay. Oh, we have another quest. Okay. 12,000 or for 15 Ks of chocolate bars with almonds. Sure. Her dial, I didn't read it all, but it's like, I've heard almonds are available now again. Yeah, across the fucking street. How many almonds do I have? Okay, let's do just like 10 more sacks just in case. Yeah, that'll be good. Let's see. Oh, thank you though, Rainbow. I appreciate that. The thing with working in public schools is like I've had some really awful public schools experiences, and I've had some good public school experiences. And this is gonna sound shitty, but like with the current state of teaching, I just don't wanna. Like, are we so fucking real? It's just more fun to teach anime girls on the internet than it is to work at a school. And it's just more fun. So I'm glad that hopefully next year I'll be able to do that. Things are going good, you know? All right. Nut time. Nut time. All right. Nut. Fuck, I fucked up my nut already. Okay. Ah! Okay. There we go. Now we're nutting. Oh, yeah, let's go. Oh, fuck. Okay. Nut. Bean. Nut, bean. That's not. Okay, fuck. Okay. Oh, shit, this is gonna be stressful. Okay. This game has no right to be as stressful as it is. Like, I played this game as a 10-year-old, and now I have anxiety, and it's starting to make sense. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay. Everything is going fast, and I don't like it. Okay. Okay. We did it. Have you played the new Texas Chainsaw game? I have not, actually. Is it good? Is it like a long game, or is it like a one-off horror game? Like, I don't play a ton of horror games on stream, but I like playing, like, the horror games that are like 3 to 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like those are like the sweet spot for me. All right, there we go. All right, Leonana, I have your shit. Perfect. Okay. How much do those sell for, by the way? Because I had okay, lemon sells way better. So let's sell the rest and let's switch it back to lemon, because lemon is like more money, and we'll buy like 100 lemon just to like have them. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay. Did anyone else have a quest? Jesus Christ, everyone has quests for me. Oh, god damn it. I should have asked around a little bit more before I sold my shit. Yeah, because he wants 32 cases of lemon. Okay, I guess we'll just do that. We make 33 per week, so we just have to wait a week. So let's go over here, see if we have any quests, then come back and then give him the lemon. Sorry, I'm not reading all the dialogue. Visit Havana, Cuba. I want to go to the casino. Why can't I go to the casino? Okay, here we go. New quest. His fancy cocoa is back. I will sell you cocoa, 25 cases of the fancy chocolate. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Give me the fancy chocolate. There we go. How does time pass in this game? Pretty much when you travel, time passes. So, like, you're probably making more money than the game expects you to. Considering I am a 23-year-old woman and this game was designed for the motor skills of 10-year-olds, that is probably the case. Okay, now we need to make... Okay, let's go back over here. But yeah, you can see how it says, like, this trip will take 1 week. Your factory's produced per week. So right now, and it's kind of like cut off at the bottom. Probably not made with mice in mind. Oh, I didn't even think about that too. It makes 33 per week, and I have enough ingredients for 4 weeks. So that way I kind of know when I need to do my little restock. So let's head back to Germany. And we'll go... Who needed the... Didn't someone need lemon? 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 Basic chocolate. Yeah, sure, but like, didn't someone need lemon? Lemon? Yeah, okay, at the Matterhorn. Oh, my beat. Sorry, I missed the mountain. Okay, there you go. These chocolate bars with lemon are all for me. Can you imagine, like, if people talk like that in real life? Like, you hand someone, like a box of chocolates, and it's like... This Hershey's Cookies and Cream Special Edition bar is just for me. Oh my god. He shouldn't have, but I'm certainly glad he did. They're gonna fuck. Okay. And now, okay, so now we need to make, let's make, how many did he need of the fancy chocolate? Because what we might be able to do to, like, get away with it in a way is, like, let me look at my quest log. Hold up. Because he needs 40 of those. I could make 25 of these and then deliver them, and then by the time I get back, these will be ready. Okay, so let's make the fancy chocolate. And then we'll just set up our factory to make basic chocolate while we're gone. And that'll be good. Okay, this one should be pretty easy. Oh yeah, we're cooking. We are so cooking. Fuck! I spoke too soon. I'm gaming. Oh my god. I don't understand how people that stream like League and like games that require thought do it. Because I literally just can't shut the fuck up, but if I speak, I lose my focus. I lose my concentration. Like, I could never stream like League or Overwatch or something like that, because my ADHD ass, I couldn't do it. I could not fucking do it. Okay, oh my god, it's going so fucking fast! What the fuck? That was stressful! I can never play League because it's ass. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, that worked. And then we'll do this basic chocolate bars, and then we'll go back to here. And then they're already done. Ba-bam. Rowena Baumeister Memorial Plate of Distinction. Conferred on those players who have made at least 8 different chocolate products. Fuck yeah, I did. Okay. Alright. But now we already have all our chocolates ready. Here you go, bud. I have been waiting to taste what you have created from my cocoa. Delightful. As promised, I'm paying you $40,000. Holy shit. An amount I'm sure will cover your cost and then some. Well, thank you, sir. I will do business with you all of the time forever now. Thanks. Back to Germany. Okay. Felix Baumeister has finally got his coffee machines up and running. It's coffee time! Okay, go to Germany, deliver this shit, and then it's fucking coffee time. We're gonna make some fucking coffee. It's Folgers time. Why does Folgers have incest in their commercials, by the way? That's the coffee brand I'm thinking about, by the way. You know what I mean? Like hold up. You guys know about the Folgers incest commercials, right? Or is that just like, oh my god, do you want something too? You guys haven't, some people have, you guys haven't heard about the Folgers incest commercial? Damn, that's crazy. Hold up, let me find it. Because it's low-key kind of weird. Like, it's, let me find it, hold up. Nestle time! Let me hold up. Sorry, I hate to inform you, but I did get rid of the Breaking Bad Yowie we were looking at earlier. It is gone. Okay, here we go. Let me also move that up like that. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Fucking Windows Movie Maker. Goddamn. Oh my god, it's so fucking loud.
I must have the wrong house.
Sister? Oh, I missed you so much. They waited up all night for you, you know.
It's a long way from West Africa.
Oh, real coffee.
He's gonna fuck that coffee.
He's here.
I brought you something from far away.
Really? Oh.
It's a box! People didn't know
What are
about
you
the
doing?
Folgers
You're my
coffee
present.
incest!
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
That's the Folgers incest commercial for those uninitiated. Anyway, time to make some coffee. Are you guys ready to make some coffee? Cause I know I sure am. Yippee! It's coffee time. I'm trying to fucking rearrange my shit, but that's okay. He brought a pipe up. Why did they make that? Fantastic fucking question. Didn't Folgers like lean into the weird shit with I don't know. When are Folgers and Ashley Madison gonna collab? Okay. So we need to go to coffee, but we also need to make orange chocolate real quick. So let's do that really fast. Cause it'll take me literally 2 seconds. Like y'all see me. I'm a gamer with this shit. Okay. Welcome in, Snellian. Welcome in, Pasta. But this will take me. I'm just gaming. Okay. Just trust me. I'm gaming. Okay. See, look at that shit. Gaming. Okay. Boing, 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 bam, boing. Fuck. Okay. Boing. Boing, boing. Oh, fuck. I fucked up. Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking. Okay. Bam, 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 bam. And if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing's changed at all? If you close your eyes, does it Okay. We're good. I think that went very well. I think that went good. Yeah, that was fine. I'm very normal about making chocolate. Thank you for that, IJ Foundry. What was going on in corporate? I have no fucking idea. Do you have does this game have boobs? Sure, absolutely. I make caramelized onions at 5 a.m. Eat them. You don't eat your caramelized onions by yourself. Just like munch on them. Now you have a little snack. Okay, there we go. And then do we have anything else we need to deliver? No. So let's sell the rest of our shit. Oh, we are making big money. And now it's coffee time. All right, it's coffee time. But without the incest, okay? I'm not putting incest in my coffee. We don't have it in the budget. That was a joke. That was a joke. Okay. Eebee, are you excited as I am? I've been tinkering with these coffee machines for eons, and it's finally time to get them into operation. Are you willing to make a trip to Hawaii? I have a contact there who will supply us with the ingredients we need to make a marketable coffee. Indeed! 1 mil. We've hit a mil. We've hit a fucking mil. Let's go, baby. There's no incest. How am I supposed to grind the beans? Anally. I don't fucking know. Travel to Hawaii and go see Gili Pilipo at the open air market. Buy a bunch of Kona coffee, cream, and sugar for our experiment. I like how he says experiment. As if we're like doing something crazy and wacky. We are making coffee with cream and sugar, my guy. It is not... It is not that crazy, Felix. Like, wait until we tell him people put caramel in coffee. He's gonna shit his pants. I think if you showed this guy a Starbucks Frappuccino, he would combust. Okay, I'll give you some cash for your trip and the ingredients. Ooh, money. All right. See, here's the thing: is chat's on a delay, so sometimes I'll be like, I'll see your guys' reactions. I'll be like, what did I say? I forgot already. Okay. Let's go get the beans. Do we have anything to sell right now? Yeah, you can do that. You would melt into a goop pile. Yeah, the coffee store sells coffee. That actually, you know what? Starbucks is onto something, because I was such a big proponent in chocolate without chocolate in it. Then Starbucks ran and took my idea of coffee without coffee in it. I think I am going to sue. Okay. Let's go to Hawaii. Boop. Okay, there we go. I need to drink some water. I'm fucking... I don't know why. I didn't take my AD... I didn't take my ADHD meds today. I forgot. No wonder that child called me the fuck out. Oh, Jesus Christ. These beans are expensive. Okay. $226 for one bean. Okay, I guess we have bean money. We'll take 100? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. 100 bean. I need cream and sugar. Take my chocolate. The beans look like hot dogs. How do you take your coffee with cream and sugar? No, I take hot dog. You're after Kona coffee, cream and sugar, eh? Expanding into coffee production by any chance? Hawaii is the place for you, my friend. To show you what I mean, I'm going to give you, free of charge, 75 sacks of coffee. I just bought 200 sacks! God damn it. Okay, whoopsie. Well, that's nice, I guess. Oh no, I just bought 100. Okay, you have the cream, and then I have plenty of sugar. I am not gonna run out of sugar anytime soon. Let's overshoot it, actually, and reconfigure our factory, because our factory is Who is this guy? Rufus? He looks like a Rufus. He absolutely looks like a Rufus, and I mean that, like, derogatory. eebee, it seems that things are finally getting back to normal after the war. I've been seeing ingredients in stock. Fuck. In the markets all over the world. Okay, Rufus, thank you. He looks evil. He really does look evil. Okay. What do you guys wanna... We're out of orange. We'll just buy more orange. The bitches love oranges, okay? Alright, take my... Fuck, I didn't mean to talk to you. Do I not... Oh, yeah, I'm out of shit. Okay. Back to Africa. Okay. I adjusted my chair. There we go. Alright, Felix! We've already received an order for 20 cases of our first coffee product. Cup of Joe! Oh my god. What an innovative name. That's just Felix. You're crazy, girl. You're crazy. Let's go root around the Amazon for insects to put in our chocolate. Yeah, we haven't gotten to the funky ingredients yet. I'm so excited for whenever we do. I'm gonna go crazy. All right, time to check my coffee machines. All right, let's crank up the coffee. Oh shit, this is a different mini game. Oh fuck, I hate this mini game. I hate this mini game so much. I hate this mini game more than I hate like James Charles, and that's like James Charles is one of like my mortal nemesises. Okay, think they'll let us put worms in chocolate bars? Yeah, why not? Fuck it, extra protein, baby. Market that as a health food. All right, aim and fire ingredients to form. Okay, it's like a match 3. Okay, I can match 3. I know my numbers. Okay, boink, 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 boink. Boink, 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 boink. Oh, I hate this. Oh, this is disgusting. I don't like this. This is not fun. The other one was more fun. This one's stupid. I don't like this one. I don't like counting. This shit's stupid. Okay, there we go. What? When did I waste something? Hello? Okay, I have to like, what? So if they hit the bottom, they're wasted? GTA style? Oh shit, oh, we're fucked. Oh, we're fucked. We're so fucked. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, it's so Jover. Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I still made 26 cases. That was so less fun than the other one. I like the bar one better. All right. Well, we have coffee at least. All right. I guess we'll go back to Germany. We're about to run out of coffee, so we gotta go get more cream. All right, Florian, where the fuck are you? Oh, Alex wants to talk. Wait, what? Alex would like a word with you. She'll be waiting for you at Irish Rock in the secret port. The secret port of Aluva. Oh, shit, okay. Damn, all right. Yeah, that mini game sucked. That one was lame. All right, where's Alex? Or no, there's someone I need to talk to. Who wanted the coffee? Who wanted the coffee? Oh, honey. Honey, yippee, new ingredient. Didn't someone want coffee here? There we go. As I promised Felix, in exchange for your 20 case of your cup of joy, I'd like to give you this recipe for mocha, one of my favorite hot drinks. Oh, wow, it's so innovative. This is the peak of innovation. Fellas, they put milk in the coffee. Nobel Prize. Immediately. Nobel Prize. Okay. Australia's all the way over here. So, let's go here, and then we'll go to Hawaii to get more shit for coffee. Oh my god, where? Okay. I am glad to see you again, Evie. I have found out much yet, but I have good reason to believe that Sean's alive. Yay! Okay. Fellas, they came in the coffee. No! The board of directors is most The board of directors is most pleased with the market's reaction to Sensodyne, and we have decided to award you with another space in the corporate recipe book. They're letting me cook. They're letting me fucking cook. Okay. This gets me every time. I'm sorry. Okay. It is time to cook. All right. You need to be sure to create new recipes as you are awarded spaces in our recipe book. This will be a critical part of proving to the board that you are capable of being our CEO. Also, you will find wonderful wild limes here at Kawaki's Limes, and this is the only place in the world where you'll be able to buy this ingredient. Keep up the good work, and I hope to have some more news soon. Cool. Okay, well, let's get some limes. Just one for now, because we're experimenting. The market has reacted favorably. She said, I read really fast. Sorry, I'm like skipping through this, but she said that the market reacted favorably to Sensodyne, so I'm here for that. All right, let's go back to Hawaii so this doesn't stall, except it did. I would like a bowl of rainbow milk meth. Could I make like Superman meth? We only have like 3 colors. Apparently, Superman ice cream isn't like a thing in like all parts of like the world. I thought it was just like a thing for everyone. Do you guys have Superman ice cream where you live? Or is that like a East Coast, like America? Or I thought it was honestly like I forgot what the fucking they call Middle America. What's the word for it? Like there's East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. That's what I meant. There's like I don't know, Central. Yeah, that one works too. Yeah, see, yeah. Board wants to make sure that you keep an ear out for any opportunities to take ownership of retail locations. Oh, hell yeah. Capitalism, baby. All right. Let's go. Give me the cream. And I need the bean. Ooh, that rhymed. Okay. Yeah, I like Superman ice cream. I know it's probably just food coloring, but, like, I like it. I think it's neat. Feeling you're expanding into coffees. 20... I'm, like, skimming it because I'm lazy. What kryptonite is your favorite? I honestly have no idea. I actually don't read comics. I'm gonna play it safe and go with the blue one. The beans do look like hot dog buns. Super rainbow ice cream? Ooh, interesting. 25K for 75 cases of coffee. Don't I already have that? How many? Yeah, I need mocha too. Okay. Why are you in Hawaii for cream? Just go to, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's just because they wanted me to go to Hawaii, which is like valid, but like, why can't we just go to Wisconsin? I feel like that's gonna be more cost effective. There's something else I wanted to do. I don't remember. Here, you can have this. I don't want it anymore. That's right. I need to go make my my shit. Oh, here, let me do that real quick. More orange. Okay. I need to go to... Alright, it's time to cook. We are cooking, okay? Alright. Pink kryptonite that acts as an aphrodisiac to Kryptonians. They're gonna make Superman have sex? They can't do that! No! Alright. Do we want to make a bar or a coffee? I want to make a bar. Because if I have to do the coffee minigame one more fucking time... Actually, okay, I should say that. I don't want to do the coffee minigame more than I have to. Because the coffee minigame makes me want to rip out my own sphincter and put it in a trash compactor. So, we're going to make a chocolate bar, okay? Although, yeah, no. Because some products we get later on will give us more ingredient slots, but coffees don't. So, we're not doing that. What do we want to cook? We don't have it's time to cook, bitch. What a good first message. Fantastic. Welcome to the stream. I can't just throw a bunch of fruits in a basket and call it a bar of chocolate, can I? Minigame or Dark Souls? Okay, I'll go minigame. We made toothpaste last time. Okay, hear me out. What if we had chocolate for rich people? And then we made them shit themselves. Motor oil? How do we make motor oil? I like the idea of making motor oil. Let's make... What does motor oil taste like? Let me make a Google search real quick. What does motor oil taste like? There's a Quora post, and the first thing it says... First of all, motor oil tastes terrible. Well, no fucking shit. This person says eggy and abrasive. Well, we don't have eggs. Cumcopia? You know what? Yeah. Alright, it's cum time. Cum time! Cum time! Okay, cream. Okay, fine. And you know what? Yeah. No, I don't... No. I don't want to put sugar in it. I want it to be cum. It's cum. Go fuck yourself. What's your name? What's your name again? It doesn't even tell me your name. You're that irrelevant. You and your opinion are irrelevant. Go fuck yourself. Cum time. Cum time. Cum. Cum. I need... What's like a good... Hold on. I pressed the wrong fucking button on my model. Hold up. There we go. Here we go. I know what I want to do for the description. Well, let me do this. I don't know if it'll let me do this. Oh, fuck. I keep changing my outfit on accident. Ah, fuck. How did I change it back? Fuck. I don't remember the buttons on my model. God damn it. Ah! I broke my model again. Shit. Okay, that's fine. I guess we're using this. Oh, okay. That worked. I don't know how. I just pressed a bunch of buttons and it worked. Okay. Calm. Yeah, give me that drizzle. There we go. Perfect. All right. Why did they let me cook? I just love we're cut off. Hank has been building a myth. A singular myth. We can't get away with this. Do we want to show David what we made? Like a fucking kindergartner showing their artwork to their dad or some shit. Do we want to go get David? I kind of want to go get David and show him our creations. I think it'd be funny. Hold on, let me Let me see if I can go get him. He's playing Magic the Gathering right now, but this is more important, okay? Hey, David. What? Can you come here real quick? Okay, David. What? I've been cooking in the kitchen. Okay, I've been cooking.
Alright.
Do you want to see what I've been cooking?
No.
Okay. Here's my recipes. This is my first one. It's called Sensodyne. It's a propaganda campaign to get children to brush their teeth by putting chocolate in toothpaste.
Okay.
What do you think? Out of 10.
Brush your fucking teeth. You will get gingivitis. I wonder where you learned about that.
Oh yeah, I have gingivitis, by the way. I left that detail out to my chat.
Bully her for not brushing her teeth.
I did brush my teeth. There's a gap in my teeth, and the dentist was like, it's fine, but that's besides the point. My gingivitis, it's not about that, okay? Where do you rate this out of 10?
0.
You don't think that's a little harsh?
No.
Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Is this the cum bar again?
You like it?
Why is it the fucking Breaking Bad thing?
I thought it described it very well for the consumer.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What is this?
Oh, that's like fancy cocoa for rich people. What?
You're a disappointment.
Did you know earlier in the stream we implied that if you love me, you're a psychopath?
Yeah, that's probably true.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's my boyfriend Dave. So, after his reaction, I think that went well. I think he liked it. So, clearly we are moving in the right direction. We need to make mocha now, though. So, let's go. Do I have everything I need to make cum? I need more beans. So, let's go over here, get some more beans, and then we'll make cum. Okay, we'll make cum. I can get you to Morocco. Wait, I want to go to Morocco. We need to find bugs. We're on the quest for bugs, okay? I don't want to look it up where the bugs are. We got to let it happen naturally, okay? I can get you to Morocco, eebee, where I can assure you, you will find new ingredients and new contacts to help grow your business. Fucking. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Do we want to, like, kiss? Wonderful. All you need to do is bring me 10 cases of chocolate bars with hazelnuts. Oh, I was ready to open up my... Never mind. Sure. I can make you 10 cases of chocolate bars with hazelnuts. That's easy. Okay. Alright. Let's go. I need more sugar. Oh! Wait, what the fuck? I should have gone here before I made cum. There's new shit. What the fuck is this? Anise? Whoa, what does it taste like? Ah, god damn it. I know what a currant is. We could have put bell pepper. God damn it. We could have put cayenne pepper in our chocolate. I'm a fool. I'm a goddamn buffoon. I failed you. I'm sorry. I failed you, chat. I'm sorry. Do we have enough hazelnut? We have 4. We're gonna need more than that. Okay. I'm so sorry I did this to you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, chat. I let you down. I'm so sorry. I just need to make cum. Oh fuck, I almost didn't buy the bean I need. Sir, I need this for cum. Thank you. Okay. Alright, back to Germany. This is a shit show. It's like fennel or licorice. Okay. I think I get it. Alright. Is it cum time? Cum time! Yippee! Okay. Alright, this one should be pretty easy. This one should be not too bad. Okay, bam, 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 bam. Oh my god, there's so much cream. There's just cream everywhere. The jokes write themselves. I'm sorry. Okay? Oh my god, we're gaming. Okay. this an esport? I know this game's from 2009, but like, has anyone considered it? Like at any point in time? Because I really think they should. Osu? I don't know her. I only know Chocolatier 3 Decadence by Design, baby. Fuck! Okay, I needed that bean! Jesus Christ, they're going! They're going! We made so much cum. Give it up, chat. We made so much cum. We made 42 cases of cum to be shipped internationally. This is what it feels like to be suffering from success. Damn, that's crazy. Okay. Now what do I need to do? Clap, clap, clap. Just walking into every store. It's like, hi, ma'am. We'd love to buy your chocolate. Clap, clap, clap. Get pregnant, get pregnant, get pregnant. Oh, right. I need to make hazelnuts. Oh, shit. I forgot about that. I was so focused on cum. Producing that much cum has got to be exhausting. You're right. I need a glass of water. I'm kind of hungry. All I had for dinner was a hot dog, and I'm kind of hungry. I'm gonna be real with you guys, but I don't know what I want to eat. I have a bunch of veggie straws. I might eat those. I don't know. They're bringing esports to the Olympics. Isn't it like really like stupid games though? Like, isn't it like We Fit or some shit? I had an entire large pizza for dinner. Good for you, King. Good for you. I had late lunch and forgot to eat dinner. You get me. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna eat. I know I kind of want a snack, but I don't know what I want to fucking snack on. I'll be real. Fuck! I lost my nut! Why do I keep losing my nut? It's not fair. Make this an esport. Like, the people who decide what's an esport and what isn't are fucking cowards. And I say that on the record. Ah! Okay. Like, I'm sure someone speedrun this before at the very least. Like, at the bare minimum. Someone's done that. Surely, right? This one? This game's so fucking stressful. What is this not? We've been bullshit. They better do the ski jump. Somebody's speeding from cops outside. Oh, nice. Congratulations. Okay. So now we have, wait, 10 cases of chocolate bars with hazelnuts? Did we not make the chocolate bars with hazelnuts? We have 33 of chocolate bars with hazelnuts. I guess she's just gonna show up. Okay. And now we need mocha. So let's go back to calm. Because I think, yeah, we need to get mocha anyway. Let's go back over here, and then we'll go back to Africa and make the mocha, and then we'll deliver it. Okay, this lady's gonna find me for the nut, and then we'll be fine. Bitches love my nut. Okay, 1,000 cream. Thank you. Perfect. And then we're gonna need a lot of this, honestly. Oh my gosh, I don't have enough money. How much are you willing to pay for a com? What the fuck? They're only gonna pay $68 for my cum? This is so fucked up. I'm haggling. Hold on. Actually, hold on. This is what we're gonna do. Okay? This is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna sell first, just in case. I'm rubbing my little hands together. You're nuts if you think I'll sell you anything at these prices. You know, yeah, actually, I think you'll find my wares will do quite well for you. Can you help at all with the prices? I feel fairly certain that the prices I'm offering are reasonable. Well, I feel fairly certain that you're a cunt. Goodbye, okay? Well, yeah, would you eat a cum-flavored chocolate? I mean, don't knock it till you try it. God, I even forgot to buy my beans. Oh, this is fucked up. All right, back to Cape Town. Chocolate with cum does exist. Does it actually? I know you can make a chocolate mold of your butthole. Like, that's a thing you can do. I think it's pretty expensive, though. But I saw, like, a TikTok about it, or, like, a YouTube video about it a few years ago. Talk about chocolate starfish. Let's see. You can eat your own ass? Well, if you try hard enough. Let's see. I'll give you $5,000 and now we can go to 10. How do you say that word?
Tangiers.
Tangiers. Okay, it's how it says. Okay. Since you'll be there soon, are you willing to deliver 12 pieces of chocolate bars with orange to this person? Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Do I have any chocolate bars with orange? No, I don't. Okay, that's fine. All right. Oh, shit. Okay. Evie, you have successfully launched your own product and you have launched our new line of coffees. I am glad to see how well things are going for our company. As you and I both know, you need to earn the endorsements of myself and the other members of the board of directors in order to be named CEO of the company. Okay, so you like me, and the other person likes me, so we're cooking. As soon as you've been able to learn and manufacture 5 coffee recipes, as well as taking over at least 1 retail location, you will have earned my endorsement. Best of luck, EB. I have no doubt you'll be able to succeed. Okay, we're gonna take a, oh shit. Florida was supposed to, what? Didn't you already place an order? Yeah, I can do that now. Okay, so we're gonna take a break real quick just so I can get more water and maybe get like a snack or something, but we'll be back in like 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes is good. So we will be right back. Binga-bonga, where's the button? Binga-bonga, yeah. Okay, we'll be right back. I got a snack. I got a snack. Do you guys want to know what snack I got before we play this stupid fucking coffee mini game that I hate? They have this thing now that you can buy It's this type of, you know how have you guys seen the skinny Oreos? The like Oreo thins or whatever? So as you all know, I'm trying to lose weight. And I'm doing like a pretty okay job at it. So I was like, okay, let's get the skinny Oreos so I can be skinny, you know? But you know how they also have the double stuffed Oreos? For some reason. And tell me your thoughts on this. They have the skinny Oreos that are double stuffed. And I'm like, you know, I feel like, not to be a hater, but I feel like skinny double stuffed Oreos kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm just a hater, but like, I saw that and I was like, huh, okay. So long story short, we bought them. Because we were like, you know what, fuck it. Like, it's kind of funny, and we wanted to show it to our friends. It's kind, you're just buying the cream at that point. I mean, let's be honest, that's the best part of the Oreo. They're not bad. We've been referring to them as slim thick Oreos. But they're pretty good. You know, a normal Oreo serving size is 2, and I can eat, like, way more for this one, you know? But it's very silly. And they were yummy. But it is very silly. Okay. Let's see. What is our quest log? Let's kind of refocus. Okay, we got so hyped up on cum, we lost focus of our business. This is going to be our downfall. Okay? So you need a lot of Cup of Joe and mocha. You need a lot of mocha. We're going to need to get more bean. We're going to need to get like 2 different types of bean soon. And we're going to need chocolate bars with orange. So let's go back to Germany. Reconfigure our shop to make orange chocolate. No more cum. It was a limited edition. And let's go check out Morocco, because we haven't checked out Morocco yet. But we definitely need more bean. We'll get like 100 oranges just to tide us over. We'll get some milk too while we're here. We definitely need more bean though. But for now, let's check out Morocco. And let's see what's going on. Limited edition, absolutely no one wanted. Stop being mean to me! Clip some eyelashes. No, not the cumbrellas. Okay, do we have any cool new ingredients? Ooh, Moroccan coffee. Don't mind if I do. Okay. At the hotel. Where's the hotel? Here we go. I had word of your arrival and your chocolates. Scrumptious. Here's 15K. Fuck yeah. Okay. Alright. So now we need to go back to... Let's see. Let's go back to Germany and deliver his shit. And by the time we get to Hawaii, we should have enough coffee for both of them. I think that'll be good. Okay. Let's see. For free? Yeah, where are you, Florian? There you go. I know I make great coffee. I'm fantastic. Let's actually, we're about out of bean. Let's go here and then we'll go to Hawaii. I think that'll be good because we need bean. We need bean so bad. Okay, give me like 3,000 bean. There we go. I never want to run out of bean ever again. Why does no one like cum? No one likes the things I make, and it makes me so sad. Like, what? Okay, back to Hawaii. We need more bean. Oh, god damn it. Both my factories are stalled. I am actively losing our company money, but that's okay. Alright. 200 bean. There we go. 25K. Alright. And sell the rest. Big money. Okay. Any other quests? Yeah, we just need 5 more different recipes for coffee. Well, we have to manufacture 5 recipes for coffee and own our first shop. So let's see. Let's actually buy a little bit more bean so we don't run out of it anytime soon. God damn it, I spent all my money on bean. Cum isn't doing it. We can always try bath water. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I just have to do that one. What's the, like, do we have any coffee recipes? Let me look at our recipe book. Because we have, yeah, we just have these 2, which is kind of annoying. But let's go back to Germany and reconfigure our factory because we fucking ran out of oranges again, which is whatever. Oh, wait, hold up. Hold up. You got 8 ads? I'm so sorry. Holy shit, I am so sorry, sir. That sucks. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I'll be so real with you. I like streaming on Twitch, and Twitch is like the platform I'm most familiar with and the platform I'm biggest on. But I fucking hate their ads. Like, if YouTube, like, I'll be so real with you guys. If YouTube could get the integration shit and like things like channel points and like tits, like, and stuff like that, like the integration stuff, I would probably honestly fully move to YouTube. It's just like, streaming on Twitch is more fun because you guys can throw shit at me. Yeah, Twitch's discoverability is also not great either, you know? But yeah, I just, like, YouTube doesn't give you ads when you stream, and I feel like Twitch ads are just crazy. And, like, I'll be honest with you, I don't make that much money off them either. So, like, I've seen some, like, people talk on TTS, not TTS, but there is the Twitch integrated throwing system, tits. That's what it's called when you throw stuff at me. That's why I say when I refer to turning my tits on, I mean turning the Twitch integrated throwing systems on. But, yeah, I just, like, I don't even make that much. Like, I've seen some streamers be like, oh my god, don't use ad blocks, you need to support your streamers. I make, like, $1 off of ads. Like, I could buy a soda. Actually, no, nowadays, I could not even buy a soda. You know what I mean? So, like, use an ad blocker. Like, if you want to. I don't care. Do what makes you happy. I am just glad you're here. I'm just glad that you're hanging out with me. I don't give a fuck if I'm not getting money from ads. I don't get money from ads anyway, you know? Anyway, let's talk to this guy. Francis. Oh my god, I keep, like, choking. Ugh. 25 cents off in Arizona. I do like Arizona tea. I hear that Zachariah Tangi is interested to meet with you. He has a coffee recipe he might be willing to offer in trade. Ooh, okay. We'll meet him in Morocco. Alright, cool. We can do that. Alright. Let's fix our Germany shop. And let's go... What do you want to make now? We have almonds. We have hazelnuts. We have lemon. How much lemon do we have? Not a lot, but we haven't sold lemon in a while. So let's just buy lemon. We'll do like 200 lemon. Yeah. And we'll buy some milk too while we're at it, just to restock a little bit. He's gonna be Morocco. That coffee gonna be serious as fuck. Yeah, let's see what's going on in Morocco. And we'll see what he wants to give us for the coffee thing. Okay? Alright. Hi, Vika! Welcome, gamer. We have 2... Chocolatiering has been going well. We have 2 custom recipes. Sensodyne and cum. So, Jesus. I don't know why. It didn't do that earlier. I don't quite know why it's breaking now, but that's okay. Alright. What you got for me? Greetings, eebee. I am not on the board. Okay. But I am indeed a Tangi. Alexandra is my younger sister. Yeah, they're like the family. They like married into the chocolate family, essentially. Alex suggested that you and I might find it mutually beneficial to work together. To start, I have a recipe here. I don't know why I like slur my words like that. That uses our very own Moroccan coffee. I am willing to hand you the recipe and pay you $10,000 in advance for an order of 40 cases. What do you say? Okay, I can do that. That's like 2 types of coffee. Okay, we can do that. That should be fine. Sell all that. Buy more of this. And back to Africa we go. Okay. We have 2 factories now, though, so we're doing pretty good. We need 2 more coffee recipes, though, and then we'll start getting approval. So we still have to grind for some recipes a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. I think we will be okay. All right, let's go. Bam, bam. God, I fucking hate this minigame. Bam, 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 bam. Oh god. My eyes, I'm not fast. My mouse is not. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. Everything's fun. Everything's sexy. Yeah. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Oh shit. Oh, we are not good. Oh fuck. Ah, okay. Oh shit. Okay, we're good. We're good. That would actually went really well, actually. Yeah, this one's actually not doing off. Okay, 42, 43. Oh, it's still cooking. Oh, good night, Shiz. Thank you so much for hanging out. And thank you again for the resub, gamer. I appreciate it. 47 per week? God damn. Okay. Jesus. All right, well, back to Morocco we go. That took me, like, no fucking time at all. Okay. All right, here you go, Zach. eebee, it's wonderful to deal with someone who keeps their word. To show my appreciation, here's another recipe that takes advantage of our fine local coffee. Coffee with mint. Okay. Where's Colombian coffee? I think we should explore entering a partnership for the shop. There will be many benefits for you. For starters, I'd always offer you the highest price for your wares. More importantly, I'd be able to start taking special orders on your behalf. Okay, that was another thing that we need for the approval. Oh, we can make piss. Good idea. I'd offer you, yeah, we need a shop too. We need the 5 recipes and we need a shop. So, I'm down for that. Special orders work like this. I'll accept orders on your behalf and then send you a telegram with the details of each order as I receive them. You can decide whether or not to accept each order, but I assure you special orders command the highest profit margins you will ever see. I will incur some startup costs to get the special order system up and running if you're willing to share these costs by bringing me some products. We'll be square and I'll be ready. Yeah, okay, sure. First bring me 100 cases of special reserve. Okay, yeah, I can do that. Alright, let's sell all the— oh my god, this coffee's $1,000?! God damn, okay. Shit, alright, Zach. I'll do whatever you want me to, bud. Alright. Oh fuck, I spent all my money on coffee. Do I have enough money to get back? Oh shit. I don't have enough money! I actually spent all my money on coffee. Do I have anything to sell? Sure. Okay, we're good. Whoopsie! Alright, that's okay. That's okay. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. What I need to do is the special— oh, Jesus Christ, we're going. Alexandra and the other members of the board have noticed how well your creations are doing in the market. It doesn't feel like they're doing great, Rick. I'm going to be honest with you. So I decided to board you another space in the recipe book. Let's go. Remember to use the space as soon as you earn them. Fuck yeah. Okay. Let's set up this to do that. No, that's the wrong one. This one. There we go. And then, yeah. Okay, let's go over here. Let's check all the ports real quick before we go to make our new recipe. So that way we're not missing out on anything. We'll buy a few of these just because I know they do well. So we're good there. Is there anything new in Cape Town? Because I want to make sure we have as many ingredients as possible before we... yeah, whipped cream. Okay. Give me the whipped cream. Okay. Anything over in Hawaii? Going to Hawaii was probably kind of a waste, but we need more coffee anyway. Oh shit, I have no fucking money. Okay, sell this. He need— how many cases do you need of the African Reserve? 65 Arabian Bold, 100 cases. Okay, so, and we have 159, so let's sell 50 of those. And, oh my god, we can sell like 200 of these. Or, yeah, okay, that's fine. As Chocolatier eebee actively harms the environment by constantly taking a private jet, then listen. They don't say it's a private jet. Okay, it could be commercial. We could be on that, what's the fuck? Not Amway. What's— Pan Am! That's what I was thinking of. We're on that Pan Am shit, okay? Alright, let's go back here. Bean. More bean. And then we'll go buy other shit. I am kind of wasting money. I did not efficiently think this through, but that's fine. We need more this stuff, yeah. This stuff sells really well, so I'm down to just, like, keep doing it, honestly. There we go. And then finally back to Morocco, where we'll do our shit here. There we go. Oh, God. So far, so so good. I've just about got everything in order. All you need to do is bring me 100 cases of mocha and 100 cases of your cum, and this shop will be at your service. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'm so I'm so appreciative that you will accept my cum. That is so kind of you. Jesus Christ. Alright, there's nothing new at the market here, right? Okay. I'm not gonna lie, it did give me whiplash for a second. Alright. Let's go Iceland. Figure out what we're... Ooh, okay. I see you've expanded operations to include coffee. In my opinion, the world's best coffee beans are found in Havana, Cuba. I'd be willing to get your passage to Cuba and hand over a recipe for cafe con leche that uses those beans if you're willing to set aside some of your first batch for me. Fuck yeah, I will. I think this is the last recipe I need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. Well, you do have to manufacture them, though. So that's the thing, is we have to manufacture them to actually get it to count. So let's make our new recipe. Let's check out Cuba, and we'll see what we want to do from there. Okay. What we got? 2 types of cocoa, 2 types of coffee, cream, that stuff. Here's what I think I want to do. Now we can start to get quirky, okay? I think we need to start with cayenne pepper, caramel, and a lemon. That's a lime. And a lemon. I'm surprised at how well the pepper works! He didn't say anything about this not having chocolate with it. I'm gonna call this one UTI. The kids are gonna love it. Okay. It's gonna burn when you pee, baby. Alright, make that shit piss yellow. And then we need to give it some flavor. Yeah, there we go. Have the dark brown pea with it too. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay. And then do we got some drizzle? Always gotta have the drizzle. And sparkles. I don't think your pea should ever glimmer in the sunlight, but that's okay. I call this one urinary tract urinary tract infection. It burns when I pee. Yes. I can't be stop surprise. Stop. Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. I'm crying. Oh my god. Okay, let's go to Cuba and see what's in store for Cuba. I understand whipped cream has recently become available. I have a recipe here that uses the very ingredient, coffee whipped cream. Sure, absolutely. Fuck you. Okay. Let's see what's going on in Cuba. Alright, coffee beans. Let's buy some coffee beans. Oh my god, these beans are... Oh my god, these beans are fucking expensive. Hold on, let me sell my shit real quick. Jesus Christ! When's the fecal chocolate dropping? Soon, my child. Soon. Hotel... Ooh! Black tea and allspice. Okay, don't mind if I do. Grab one. Oh, I like how they smile when you buy from them. That's cute. Okay. Probably in like 20 minutes. Alright. We are going to end the stream soon because my throat's starting to hurt. As many of you know, I'm a singing teacher and I have to... I get really excited and I have a lot of fun when I stream sometimes, but then sometimes I fuck up my throat, and that's why my streams are a lot of times very short. But before we end, it's gambling time, baby. Wait. I can't gamble until I give him 35 cases of Sensodyne? Consider it done. Consider it fucking done. I need mint. I need mint. Consider it done. Hold on. Hold on. You want some Sensodyne, baby? I will absolutely get you some fucking Sensodyne. I wonder how Alex is faring. I don't. Piss. Okay. Okay, where's my Sensodyne? There we go. Perfect, perfect. You want 35 cases of Sensodyne? I got you, my boy. I got you. Come here. Come here. Let me in. Let me in. That's the fucking market. Goddamn. Okay, friend. You have honored your end of the deal, and I will honor mine. From this day forward, you are welcome to gamble here anytime. Alright. It's gambling time. Actually, let me, there we go. Okay, I'm ready to gamble. Do we want to do slots or boxes first? Let's do slots first. We'll go $2,000 on the slot machine. Each pull will cost $2,000, but I might hit the jackpot. Okay, pull number 1. Okay, broke even. We can only go up from here. Again. Huh? Huh? What the fuck? Alright, jackpot, baby. Easy fucking money. Easy money. Alright. Again, boxes now. Let's bet $50,000. Okay, there's more than 270K in these boxes. But if I get a whammy, the game will end. Whammy's when the little devil guy man shows up. So I have to pick the right box. This has happened to me before, actually. There's literally a TikTok of this exact fucking scenario happening. I'm not rigging this. I'm not setting it up for a bit. This just always happens to me. Okay, I want to try it again. We have to break. It's the first timer's luck, okay? First timer's luck, okay? We're just gonna. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right, and one more. There we go. Okay, we're done. We're done. We're done. We made our money back. Okay. Cool. All right. Gamers, I had an absolute fucking blast streaming this. I'll be honest, I was really burnt out with Dark Souls, and I was low-key, like, scared that I did not lose 20K. Shh. Welcome in, Nick. I was low-key scared that I was getting, like, burnt out on streaming entirely. I think I just was not enjoying Dark Souls. So, we didn't finish this game. I honestly forgot how long this game is. We still haven't found our fire ants yet. We might have broken the Geneva Convention, though. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to read over that one. But, do you guys want me to play this again next week? Because this was really fun. And I kind of want to finish the game again. Originally, I was gonna make this VOD, unarchived, because I didn't think, like, I thought it would be kind of a meme, but this was really fun. You're still on Just Chatting. Here's the thing. I purposely put it on Just Chatting, because I was like, okay, let's think about discoverability. Where am I gonna have more discoverability? Just Chatting? Or the category for a niche chocolate making game from 2009. I did sell come internationally. I am a huge success. Look how much fucking money I have. Okay? So, I think we will continue this. I'm not sure if I'm going to upload the VOD or not on YouTube. I'm not sure. But to recap, for those who just came in, we are going to end soon because my throat hurts. But don't they have a retro games category? Nah, it's fine. You've enjoyed Chocolatier thing every time I've seen it. Thank you. This is low-key my comfort game. I like it a lot. If I can find copies of Chocolatier 2 and Chocolatier 1, we can play those too. But this one's on Steam. But the other Chocolatier games, Chocolatier 1 and Chocolatier 2, are not on Steam. But if I can find them on like old games download or something, and you want me to play them, I'll absolutely fucking play them. But our current recipes, we have Sensodyne, brush your fucking teeth, you will get gingivitis. Cum, which has that going on. And our newest, latest drop, urinary tract infection, made with caramel, cayenne pepper, and lemon. So I think we're doing good. But gamers, I really hope you had fun tonight. I know I did. If you would like to keep up with me and let me go back to my little so it's not like silent while I'm doing my ending spiel. But if you'd like to keep up with me and talk to me, I do have a Discord. We're actually doing a community event this weekend. We're gonna be watching Half-Life VR, but the AI is self-aware. You should make one named Ball Sweat. Oh, good idea, good idea. Write these down so I don't forget. If you would also, I don't know if I'm post this VOD yet. I'm honestly not sure. But I do post most of my VODs on YouTube, and I also stream on YouTube every Friday. If you are new in town, my name is eebee Games. I love women being stupid and being your favorite national disgrace. I stream on Twitch every Wednesday and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. EST, and every Friday on YouTube at 6:30 p.m. EST. So Wednesdays are gonna be our fuck around and find out day. Sundays are Skyrim Sunday. And then Friday is Baldur's Gate Day for the foreseeable future because I like hot vampire twinks. I also have other miscellaneous social media if you want to follow me there. I'm also going to be releasing my 3rd anniversary cover and my first new cover on my new YouTube channel soon. So keep a lookout for that. But lots of cool things are happening soon. So let me figure out who we're going to go raid. Because I had a lot of fucking fun. That was very fun. I enjoyed it quite a lot. This is a good stream. Let's do... We're gonna go raid Milk. We haven't raided Milk in a while. Milk is one of my former VTuber students. She's playing Fortnite. Please give her the same love and affection you give me. What should our raid message be? What do we want our raid message to be? I just had no idea. Oh, Milk Chocolate. Wait, that's cute. We'll do cum raid. She'll know. Just spam cum raid over and over again. It'll work. Okay, I promise you, it'll work. All right, gamers, I will catch you on the flip side. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Bye bye.